S.A., what stood out to you most in Game 6?
That the better team won. There's no way around that. We got to give credit where credit is due to the Indiana Pacers. Props to them. They were the better team. They knew they had a home court situation. They couldn't afford to lose Game 6 because they didn't want to come back to the Garden for Game 7. They came out in the third quarter and outscored the Knicks by 11 points. Pascal Siakam shot like 57% from the field, scored about 10 points in the third quarter. Thomas Bryant, of all people, comes off the bench, hits a couple of threes, scores 8 pivotal points. And the Indiana Pacers began to run him out of there. And then Halliburton came in and closed in the fourth quarter. The New York Knicks were undermanned. But, you know, you find yourself looking at the series, Molly, Eminem, and it's like there is this feeling that there is one that got away. Yes, Indiana was the better team because they were deeper. They're exceptionally well coached by Rick Carlisle. They came into the postseason having 11 players averaging at least 15 minutes a game. And we knew that they were prepared to go deep and to make this series a long series because they were confident that their legs would be fresh and they would be able to outlast the New York Knicks, and that ended up exactly being what happened. But you do find yourself looking at that Game 1 where the Knicks had a 17-point lead with over 6 minutes left, a 14-point lead with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, a 9-point lead with 52 seconds left, and said if the New York Knicks hadn't won that game, in all likelihood, there would be a Game 7 at Madison Square Garden tonight. That's what you find yourself looking at. So maybe tomorrow we'll feel a bit differently. Maybe next week we'll feel a bit differently. But this morning, right now, as we speak, it just feels like that's the one that got away.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've gone over and over in my head in terms of which game is the one that bothers me most. For all of the reasons you mentioned, S.A., I get why people point to Game 1. But I think Game 2, you had the opportunity to respond. But that's not where we need to go. I get and I could point to things that I hope the Knicks take the opportunity to evaluate and improve on moving forward. But I do think that, to your point, the statement you said, the Pacers are a really good team that was underrated largely coming into this one. I mean, they and the Oklahoma City Thunder have the best record since January 1, and here they are in the finals. I think this was a bad matchup for the Knicks, and I know people are pointing to the defense in terms of the Knicks, but to me, the defense had not been particularly stellar all season. It was the offense that crashed out. You point to the points off of turnovers. You point to the humongous disparity in terms of fast break points. And yes, that is a calling card of the Indiana Pacers. Kudos to them, but you got to figure out a way to stay a little bit closer in that category. So I give the Pacers more credit, I think, in this one than I give the Knicks to blame. Not that there is not plenty to evaluate from the Knicks in terms of how you can be better. And obviously the historic Game 1, you can certainly sit atop of that in terms of the things that you look at in terms of how we got here.
S.A.?
Well, before we get to Jay, just to crystallize Monica's points off turnovers. The New York Knicks got outscored 34-13 in Game 6, 140 to 61 in the series. Fast break points. The New York Knicks got outscored 25-10 in Game 6, 106 to 48 in the series. The New York Knicks bench got outscored by Indiana's bench, 210